Do you remember the pixies in your garden? An early childhood dream of these tiny figures in their breakable bodies. Do you remember watching them dance? Making them homes out of empty walnut shells, beds for them to sleep in. Do you remember falling asleep outside and waking up in your own bed? Do you remember the magic of being so naive? Maybe this is where we learn how to be pretty. We put these fairy tale books on high shelves, out of reach, trading them for fashion magazines with images of bodies out of reach. Maybe this is why we wanted to be so small, so our parents could forever carry us. Maybe we were taught to be collapsible, like shooting stars. We were taught to be magnificent. First, we have to fade. So you began shrinking yourself. The ideal girl is breakable, mistakable for a Barbie doll, pink lips taught to share other people's secrets because we just want validation. Not making a sound to avoid humiliation, a constant pounding in my head reminding me less is more. Constantly suffering, suffocating, in a skin we are taught to hate. I was taught to be a tragedy, to romanticize smoking, being black and blue, to romanticize starvation. In order for your prince to save you, first you have to be broken. Become less, they will look at you a little more. Honey, don't try to stand. Baby, you are so small. Sweetheart, your legs are too skinny to carry this conversation. You are underweight. Under the weight of the world, you pick at your skin and dream of the cosmos they don't sell in stores. But your head is in the Milky Way. But you disguise this with a magazine that only tells you what you already know. Less is more. Become less. They will see you no more than an object. At least you'll be lighter to lift. But tell them to be careful because the pressure is breaking your ribs. This is for the fallen stars in our universe of disaster. The girls whose bones were too big, whose hearts took up too much room, the ones sitting cross-legged in the corner who finished wringing themselves out and were left on the floor. Do you remember when you found out the magic they told you about wasn't real? Maybe it was staring into a porcelain bowl. The wonder was understandable, but honey, this is the real world. The sharp knife of your friend's concern, which you only saw as a fake blade, an obligation. You found comfort in your invisibility, in your isolation. The numbers were hurting you, but that's all you knew. So you put up posters of perfect bodies to remind you to keep yourself empty. Switch breakfast for a cigarette. So you let your bones show. You let the constellations formed in your dimples disappear along with your flesh. Nothing more than a corpse, nothing less than decay, so you took too long in the bathroom, throwing away pieces of yourself, trying to be someone else, wishing you were something else, so you started counting calories like mistakes. You forgot that you need both flesh and bone to make a body. You fell in love with being cold, let your hands turn blue. You collected your falling hair like puzzle pieces. You kept a tally in your ribs of all the meals you missed. You were trying to be a pixie. You were trying to make your own garden at the bottom of the ocean. Did you think for a second that you wouldn't drown? You can only control this as much as you can control the weather, and you got so caught in this storm of perfection you didn't realize you were killing yourself by lessening yourself. You were only making the coffin easier to carry for everyone else, but this guilt will always weigh them down because how could they not see the way your eyes no longer held oceans because you cried too many rivers? How could they not see the way you didn't feel your genes, months of your stomach grumbling? You told yourself one day this would all mean something. And I guess it does. It means your father won't sleep anymore, your mother won't eat anymore, your brother won't speak, and your sister will forget how to breathe because no matter how much room you tried not to take up, the gap you left was so much bigger than your body. This is the most romanticized form of self-destruction. They put bones on the big screen. They put coat hangers on the catwalk. They make this glamorous. This is Vogue, sweetheart. This is fashion. This is who you want to be. This is beauty. Suck it in. This is graceful. Suck it in. This is gorgeous. Suck it in. Suck it in. They put black and white filters over collarbones. Telling you less, selling you sex, dotting I's with hearts on suicide notes. So now, I see my friends skip breakfast and I think of your ribcage, of your spine, of the gap between your thighs, and I think of destruction. This is a sickness without a cure. This is more than just vanity. This is an unending decision. This is crying over scales. This is fingers hitting the back of your throat. This is sweaters and 30 degrees. This is recovery or die trying. This is anything but beautiful. Even though that's all you were trying to be. The bruises don't read perfection. If only you had listened, maybe every waking hour wouldn't be this way. You wouldn't be counting. Less is more. You used to be so much more. You broke your bones by trying to lift yourself out of this hell. If only you tried sooner. But there is no use clawing at a concrete wall unless you want your fingernails to bleed. The walnut shells are full and you never sleep anymore. Don't you miss being naive? I was born with a calculator in my head. I inherited it from my mother the first time I heard her hurl abuse at her body. Sometimes I still contemplate throwing away what's on my plate, counting how many calories I ate. How could I learn to hate myself so young? How could I still be shrinking? How could I still be growing? I want the control back. And it never ends. This Armageddon, this fear of being, you will always have a number to obsess over. I've never gone over this with anybody. I've never outwardly said how I hate my body. You never get better, not really. Now, every morning it's a choice between survival and starting the destruction in you. Now, every morning it takes every sense of my being to remind myself, you don't have to eat less, because you mean so much more.